You wake up near Giza around the year 2560 BCE. The sun is already attacking everything it can reach. Sand has entered places sand should never discover. A foreman is shouting beside your sleeping mat. Congratulations, Ned. You are helping build the Great Pyramid. No, you are not chained to a wall. The workforce includes organized laborers and skilled specialists. Some may work during the Nile flood season. The foreman hands you a rope. He points toward a limestone block. The block is larger than your entire future. Your work crew is already pulling. Nobody pauses to explain the safety rules. There are no safety rules. The builders live in organized settlements near the site. Bread, beer, onions, and fish support the workforce. Your breakfast is bread and a clay cup of beer. It is also too early for this much responsibility. Your crew has a name painted on a stone. Work gangs compete for speed and pride. The foreman calls you Little Scar. This is now your professional identity. The limestone comes from nearby quarries. Workers cut channels using copper tools and stone pounders. Copper is useful, but the stone is patient. A quarryman shows you a wooden lever. He places it beneath the block. Several workers push together. The block moves the width of one finger. Ancient construction has very small victories. The block must reach a wooden sledge. Ropes are tied around it carefully. The knots look stronger than your arms. The crew begins pulling across the sand. Dry sand piles up in front of the runners. The sledge slows almost immediately. A worker pours water onto the path. Damp sand reduces the resistance. The sledge begins moving again. You accidentally learn practical physics. The foreman mistakes this for enthusiasm. He moves you closer to the front rope. Your feet slide with every step. The block follows with terrifying patience. A drummer keeps the crew pulling in rhythm. Your muscles strongly oppose the rhythm. The road leads toward a canal near the plateau. Boats can transport stone along Nile waterways. Today, your route contains mud. The sledge reaches a wooden loading platform. A barge waits beside the canal. The crew uses ropes and levers again. One bad pull could drop the block into the water. One worse pull could drop you first. You stand exactly where nobody needs you. The foreman notices immediately. He orders you onto the barge. The stone settles heavily onto the deck. The boat sinks lower, but remains afloat. Sailors push away from the bank. The canal carries the load toward Giza. The pyramid rises above the desert ahead. It is already enormous and still unfinished. You briefly consider walking in the opposite direction. The barge reaches another unloading ramp. More workers wait with another sledge. The same stone begins another journey. History has invented reusable suffering. The ground rises toward the construction site. Workers pull while others push wooden levers. The exact pyramid ramp design remains debated. Nobody on your crew has time for the debate. You only know the ramp points upward. The block becomes heavier with every step. That is not how weight works. Your arms disagree. A supervisor checks alignment using cords and sighting tools. The pyramid sides must remain remarkably straight. Your walking direction is less impressive. You nearly step off the ramp. Another worker grabs your red scarf. The scarf saves your life again. It is becoming more qualified than you. Higher up, masons shape the limestone surfaces. Copper chisels need constant sharpening. Stone pounders strike harder materials into shape. Dust covers every face and piece of clothing. Your pale head is now pyramid colored. A water carrier offers you a drink. You finish the cup in one breath. The foreman calls the break complete. Ancient labor management is extremely efficient. The crew prepares the block for final placement. Wooden levers lift one edge at a time. Small stones are pushed underneath as supports. The block rises slowly toward its course. Then one support, stone cracks. The entire block shifts sideways. Every worker shouts a different instruction. You choose the instruction that means run. The rope wraps around your ankle. Running becomes unavailable. You fall on the ramp. The block slides half a body length. A worker jams a lever beneath its corner. Others pull the rope in unison. You kick free before the rope tightens. The block stops inches from your feet. The foreman calls this a successful placement. You call it a warning from every god. By sunset, the block finally joins the pyramid. Your crew paints another mark beside it. You carried one stone among millions of pieces. Tomorrow, the foreman points much higher. You survived one day building the Great Pyramid. You survived stone, rope, mud, ramps, and management. Most impressively, you still have both feet. History happened. Suffered. Ned suffered. You wake up in England in the year Mortneen Batam. For one peaceful second, everything seems completely normal. Then, your left tooth tries to escape through your skull. Congratulations, Ned. You have a medieval toothache. There is no dental clinic. There is no x-ray. There is no local anesthetic. And the nearest expert also cuts hair, drains wounds, and removes teeth. The pain pulses again. Your entire face now has its own heartbeat. You try drinking water. The water hurts. You try eating bread. The bread hurts. You try doing nothing. Somehow, that hurts even more. You need help. Unfortunately, this is medieval England. Help is a flexible concept. Your first medical consultation comes from your neighbor. She examines your mouth for approximately 2 seconds. Then she announces the diagnosis. A worm is living inside your tooth. Not a normal worm. A toothworm. People believed it burrowed into teeth and caused pain. You ask whether anyone has ever actually seen one. Your neighbor looks offended. Apparently, asking questions is one of the symptoms. She offers 3 treatments. The first is a prayer. The second is a pouch of unidentified plants. The third uses smoke to annoy the worm. You choose the plants. They taste like wet furniture. The pain remains. The worm, if present, appears completely unbothered. Soon, the entire village begins contributing ideas. One man recommends rubbing powder against the tooth. Another suggests wearing an amulet. An elderly woman offers a warm paste for your jaw. Someone else recommends bloodletting. You point out that the problem is inside your mouth. They explain that your blood probably knows what it did. You test several remedies. One makes your tongue numb. One makes your eyes water. One appears to be ordinary mud. The pain briefly becomes quieter. You celebrate too early. A few minutes later, it returns with reinforcements. You can no longer sleep. You can barely chew. Every eating sound becomes a personal insult. There is only one option left. You must find someone who removes teeth. A wealthy noble might consult a trained physician. You are not a wealthy noble. You own one cloak, half a loaf, and a disrespectful chicken. So the villagers direct you toward a practical specialist. A striped pole hangs outside. Metal strikes metal inside. You also hear screaming. Then you hear applause. This is apparently a good sign. The shop offers haircuts, bloodletting, bone setting, and tooth pulling. You wonder whether 4 employees work there. There is one employee. His name is Walter. Walter holds a razor in one hand and tooth forceps in the other. He offers you a haircut before the extraction. You decline. You have already lost confidence in enough body parts today. Walter examines the painful tooth. His equipment includes iron tools, a wooden chair, and a suspicious cloth. He taps the tooth. You nearly leave your body. Walter nods thoughtfully. Then he taps it again. You briefly see the future. Walter announces that the tooth must be removed. You ask about alternatives. Walter offers slow removal or fast removal. Those are the alternatives. You ask whether he has anything for the pain. Walter gives you a wooden handle to bite. You explain that biting is currently the problem. He replaces it with a different wooden handle. This is apparently the premium package. There is no dependable modern dental anesthesia. Walter places the chair near the shop entrance. You ask why the procedure cannot be private. Walter says a crowd improves business. 3 spectators are already watching. 1 has brought food. Public tooth pulling can become a performance. A successful extraction proves the operator's skill. An unsuccessful one is still technically entertainment. Walter asks 2 assistants to hold your shoulders. You did not know Walter had assistants. They are customers waiting for haircuts. Walter grips the tooth. The crowd leans forward. Your chicken appears in the doorway. Even the chicken wants to see this. Walter pulls. Nothing happens. He changes his grip. He pulls again. The chair moves. You move. The tooth stays exactly where it is. Walter examines his tool. You begin examining the door. Walter calls the first attempts medical measurements. The crowd accepts this. People were easier to impress before online reviews. Walter braces one foot against the chair. This was not part of the explanation. He grips the tooth again. You grip both sides of the chair. The assistants grip you. The audience grips its snacks. For one moment, the shop becomes perfectly still. Then Walter pulls. There is a sudden crack. The chair falls backward. Walter lands against the wall. One assistant drops his hat. Your chicken leaves immediately, and the tooth is finally out. Walter raises it above his head. The crowd cheers. You are too shocked to react. The terrible pressure finally begins to fade. It has been replaced by several entirely new sensations. But the toothache is gone. Mostly. Walter gives you a cloth and several instructions. Do not eat anything hard. Do not touch the empty space. And do not ask what was on the instrument. There is no sterile dental room. There are no antibiotics waiting outside. Removing the tooth solved one problem. It may have applied for several new ones. The crowd congratulates you. Your neighbor asks whether Walter found the worm. Walter displays the tooth. Everyone stares at it. There is no worm. Your neighbor decides it must have escaped. Science is defeated by confidence once again. That evening, you sit beside the fire. Your jaw aches. Your pocket is empty. Your chicken still refuses to come near you. But the terrible pulsing pain has stopped. You survived a medieval toothache. You survived the herbal mixtures. You survived the advice of strangers. And most impressively, you survived Walter. Tomorrow, you will clean your remaining teeth carefully. Unfortunately, the powder appears to contain crushed brick. You look directly at the audience. The pain begins on the other side of your mouth. History happened. Ned suffered. You wake up in Pompeii in the year 79. The floor beneath your bed is gently shaking. A clay cup rolls across the room. Nobody outside seems especially worried. Congratulations, Ned. You have arrived on Pompeii's final day. Small earthquakes have troubled the region for years. Most residents have learned to ignore them. Your survival instincts are finally becoming useful. You step into a crowded Roman street. The shops are opening and carts are already moving. A baker carries fresh loaves toward the market. The smell almost makes you forget the shaking. Then a roof tile falls beside your foot. The baker calls this normal. History has very relaxed safety standards. You look north toward Mount Vesuvius. The mountain appears quiet beneath the morning sky. Nothing about it looks immediately deadly. That is exactly how volcanoes prefer to begin. You visit the forum looking for information. Merchants are arguing about prices, not earthquakes. A politician is giving a speech nobody requested. A priest says the gods may be displeased. A merchant says business should continue. Both men sound equally confident. Neither man has studied volcanology. You decide to prepare anyway. You fill a small water flask. You wrap bread inside a cloth. You find a scarf to cover your mouth. Fortunately, you already own a red one. You choose the road leading toward the city gate. Then a deep boom rolls across Pompeii. Every conversation stops at once. A dark column begins rising above Vesuvius. It climbs higher than any ordinary cloud. The top spreads outward like a stone pine. People point upward and begin shouting. Some run toward home. Others run toward the forum. Several simply stand and watch. Humans have always enjoyed dangerous spectacles. Fine ash begins drifting onto the streets. At first, it looks almost like gray snow. Then the falling ash becomes thicker. Daylight begins fading before afternoon. You tie the scarf across your face. Small white stones begin falling from the sky. They are pieces of light volcanic pumice. One bounces harmlessly from your head. Then, a larger piece lands nearby. You stop finding the situation educational, and people begin carrying blankets over their heads. You copy them using a woven mat. It is not heroic, but it is practical. The streets quickly become crowded. Carts block the narrow road toward the gate. Animals panic and pull in every direction. Someone drops an entire basket of olives. The ash cloud makes the city increasingly dark. Oil lamps appear inside houses before sunset. Breathing becomes difficult without a cloth. Every step kicks more ash into the air. You reach the gate and find a human wall. Everyone wants to leave at the same time. Nobody has invented an evacuation plan. A guard orders people to remain calm. The crowd immediately becomes less calm. You consider returning to a sturdy building. Then pumice begins piling on nearby roofs. Flat roofs are not designed for falling stone. A loud crack comes from a house behind you. Part of the roof collapses inward. You decide the street is safer for now. You move along the city wall toward another exit. The ground trembles again beneath your feet. Columns sway and masonry falls into the road. You protect your head with the woven mat. A family joins you beside the wall. They are carrying children, water, and documents. You are carrying bread and bad timing. The family knows a smaller road toward the coast. You follow them without asking many questions. Good decisions sometimes begin with panic. The road descends through vineyards outside Pompeii. Ash covers the leaves like gray flour. The daylight has almost completely disappeared. Lightning flickers inside the volcanic cloud. Thunder and explosions echo across the land. The children begin crying. The adults pretend they are not terrified. You do the same, less convincingly. For the coastline appears through the darkness. Several fishing boats are already leaving. Too many people rush toward the remaining vessels. One boatman refuses to overload his boat. This is sensible and extremely unpopular. The family offers him jewelry for passage. Exercise. You offer him half a loaf of bread. The boatman looks at the sky. Then he accepts both offers. Everyone pushes the boat into the water. Cold waves soak your tunic and boots. Once again, history has filled your footwear. The sail catches a weak offshore wind. The boat slowly moves away from the beach. Behind you, Vesuvius continues roaring. A dense cloud races down the mountain's slopes. It moves faster than any running person. The boatman orders everyone to keep rowing. You discover another historical use for your arms. The coastline disappears behind ash and darkness. By night, the boat reaches safer water. You survived Pompeii's final day. You survived falling stone, darkness, and panic. Most importantly, you left before it was too late. Tomorrow, your bread will taste like volcanic ash. History happened. Ned suffered. You wake up on a Viking ship around the year 900. The first thing you notice is the freezing wind. The second thing you notice is the freezing water. The third thing you notice is nobody looks surprised. Congratulations, Ned. You are crossing the North Sea with a Viking crew. There is no cabin waiting for you below deck. Your bed is a damp wooden plank. Your blanket is whatever part of the sail nobody needs. The ship is long, narrow, and built for speed. Its overlapping wooden planks flex with every wave. The shallow hull can approach beaches without a harbor. It can also bounce violently across open water. Today, the sea has chosen violence. The crew hands you an oar. Apparently, breathing near the ship counts as volunteering. You sit beside 20 exhausted rowers. Everyone begins pulling at the same rhythm. You discover your arms have never experienced history before. Each stroke drags the ship through dark gray water. Each wave throws cold spray across your face. Your red scarf becomes a small wet flag. Nobody offers you dry clothes. The square sail catches a weak northern wind. When the wind fades, the crew rows. When the wind returns, the crew still rows. This seems unfair, but nobody asks for your opinion. Your hands begin developing blisters before breakfast. Breakfast is a piece of hard bread. It may once have been softer than a shield. You dip it into a wooden cup of water. The bread absorbs nothing. The cup absorbs more flavor than the bread. Someone offers you dried fish. The fish appears older than several kingdoms. You chew carefully with your remaining medieval teeth. The fish still wins. There is no kitchen on the longship. There is no hot meal during rough weather. Food must survive without spoiling or complaining. Salted meat, dried fish, and bread do both. The drinking water tastes like wood and regret. Small amounts of ale may also travel aboard. Nobody packed orange juice. Scurvy has not entered today's story yet. You ask how the crew knows where it is going. The helmsman points toward the sky. You were hoping for a map. There is a map. It looks like somebody argued with a piece of parchment. Viking sailors followed coasts, stars, winds, and landmarks. They also watched birds and the color of the water. There is no magnetic compass helping this voyage. There is only experience and alarming confidence. Clouds cover the sun before midday. The coastline disappears behind a wall of mist. The helmsman keeps steering west. You ask whether west is definitely correct. Nobody answers. That is somehow worse than a confident answer. A seabird circles above the mast. The crew treats this as useful information. You treat it as a bird. The bird appears more qualified than you. By afternoon, the wind begins rising. The sail snaps loudly above the deck. The mast bends, but the crew keeps working. Dark waves grow taller beside the ship. Your breakfast begins reconsidering its location. Seasickness was not mentioned during recruitment. You grip the side and focus on the horizon. The horizon repeatedly disappears behind waves. The crew lowers part of the square sail. Too much sail could push the ship onto its side. Too little sail leaves everyone rowing into the storm. Naturally, you receive another oar. Rain begins falling sideways. Water gathers around everyone's feet. Men scoop it out using bowls and helmets. You are handed a small wooden bucket. Your promotion is immediate and meaningless. You throw one bucket overboard. 2 more buckets arrive through the hull. The ship is not sinking. It is merely becoming more sea than ship. A leather strap on the sail suddenly tears. The loose corner begins whipping above the deck. 2 sailors crawl toward the damaged rope. Then, they point at you. Apparently you are lighter and therefore more disposable. You crawl beneath the snapping sail. The deck moves in 6 directions at once. You hold the rope with both blistered hands. One sailor ties a new strap beside you. A wave washes across the deck. For 1 second, your feet leave the ship. 3 hands grab your tunic and scarf. The scarf survives another historical emergency. The sail is secured before the next wave. The crew gives you one approving nod. This is the closest thing to a medal aboard. Near sunset, the storm finally weakens. A dark coastline appears beyond the mist. The crew begins cheering. You have never loved land this much. The long ship turns toward a narrow beach. Its shallow hull slides over the final waves. Everyone jumps into knee-deep freezing water. You hesitate for 1 reasonable second. Then the crew carries the ship forward without you. You jump before your ride disappears. Your boots fill with cold seawater. At last, you stand on solid ground. The ground continues moving inside your head. You survived the North Sea. You survived the rowing, the fish, and the storm. Most impressively, you survived Viking navigation. Tomorrow, the crew plans to sail back. History happened. Ned suffered. You wake up inside a medieval castle under siege. A horn is screaming somewhere above your room. The stone floor trembles beneath your feet. Someone outside is shouting for more arrows. Congratulations, Ned. You have chosen an excellent day to stay indoors. Unfortunately, several hundred armed men want inside. The castle gates are already locked. The drawbridge has been raised, and nobody is planning to let you leave. You step into the courtyard looking for answers. Soldiers are running toward the walls. Servants carry baskets filled with stones, and a blacksmith is repairing damaged helmets. You ask one soldier how long the siege has lasted. He says 12 days. You ask how much longer it might last. He laughs and walks away. A castle is designed to make attackers miserable. Thick stone walls stop arrows and climbing men. High towers let defenders see danger approaching. A deep ditch may surround the outer wall. The gatehouse is usually the weakest obvious target. A heavy wooden ram pounds against the outer doors. You can feel the vibration in your teeth. You decide to move farther from the gate. A captain sees you standing without a weapon. He hands you a wooden shield. Then he points toward the battlements. You climb a narrow stone staircase. The steps are steep and badly lit. Soldiers push past you carrying arrows and stones. You finally reach the top of the wall. The view immediately explains the shouting. Enemy tents cover the fields outside. Ladders are being carried toward the walls. Archers stand behind wooden shields. A siege engine sits farther back. The defenders begin firing arrows downward. Enemy archers answer almost immediately. You crouch behind the stone battlement. An arrow strikes the wall beside your head. The captain tells you to carry stones. You discover a large pile beside the stairs. The stones are meant for anyone climbing the wall. A ladder slams against the outer wall. Several attackers begin climbing. Defenders push the ladder away with long poles. The entire ladder falls backward. Concept, you decide not to watch where it lands. Another ladder appears 10 steps away. You carry a stone toward the defenders. It is much heavier than history documentary suggest. You drop it before reaching the edge. A loud crash comes from the gatehouse. The battering ram has damaged the outer gate. Soldiers rush down from the walls. The captain orders everyone toward the inner courtyard. You follow because following is currently your specialty. The defenders close a second set of doors. Castles often use several layers of defense. Attackers must break through each one. This is good architecture and terrible scheduling. You hear shouting beyond the damaged gate. Then you smell smoke. Attackers are trying to burn the wooden doors. Defenders pour water from buckets above. You are handed another bucket. The bucket line stretches across the courtyard. Water comes from the castle well. That well is now more valuable than gold. Without water, the siege becomes very short. Without food, it becomes slightly longer. You suddenly remember you have not eaten. The castle stores are carefully rationed. Bread is hard and portions are small. Fresh meat disappeared days ago. A cook gives you thin vegetable stew. There are 3 vegetables in the entire bowl. You consider naming them. What? Before lunch ends, another horn sounds. This horn means something worse. Enemy soldiers have reached part of the outer wall. The defenders rush toward a side tower. You keep eating for 1 responsible second. Then everyone notices you. You put down the bowl. Airline. Your military career resumes. Inside the tower, the staircase is packed with soldiers. The fighting is happening above. You hear metal striking metal. You also hear someone falling down the stairs. You move very close to the wall. A wounded soldier is carried past you. Another defender tells you to bring bandages. You immediately accept the safer assignment. The infirmary is crowded and chaotic. A surgeon works with cloth, needles, and strong alcohol. There are no antibiotics waiting nearby. There is also no modern anesthesia. You decide your toothache was a warm-up. You carry clean cloth back toward the tower. Then the castle bells begin ringing wildly. The enemy is retreating from the wall. Defenders cheer from the battlements. You have survived the afternoon. Fuck, canned, but the siege is not over. At sunset, enemy campfires still cover the fields. The castle gates remain damaged. Food remains limited, and tomorrow the ladders will probably return. You find a quiet corner beside the inner wall. Exercise. Your shield becomes a pillow. Your red scarf becomes a blanket. You survived one day inside a besieged castle. You survived arrows, ladders, smoke, and military employment. Most impressively, nobody promoted you. Tomorrow, the captain knows your name. Exercise. History happened. Ned suffered. Congratulations, Ned. You have just become a medieval doctor. Unfortunately, you have no stethoscope, antibiotics, anesthesia, or germ theory. And no, you do not get the famous bird mask. That costume appears roughly 3 centuries after our medieval shift. Today, your protection is confidence, wool, and spectacularly bad luck. Outside, a 14th century English town is already coughing awake. Church bells count the hour while carts grind through yesterday's mud. Your first patient arrives before you have found the wash basin. His family hands you the most important diagnostic tool: urine. You must inspect it, question him, feel his pulse, and predict everything. If your prediction sounds convincing, the family may trust you. If it fails, they may choose another healer tomorrow. Because one medieval doctor was never the whole medical system. A university physician usually diagnosed illness and prescribed a plan. A surgeon handled wounds, fractures, extractions, and dangerous manual work. A barber might shave your face, then open your vein. An apothecary measured ingredients and sold prepared medicines. Midwives and household healers carried knowledge unavailable at universities. Ned has somehow been hired to assist all of them. Your goal is simple: survive until the evening bell. Before treating anyone, a physician needed the right kind of authority. In parts of medieval Europe, practicing without permission could be illegal. Roger of Sicily issued licensing rules as early as 1140. Universities later trained physicians in places like Salerno and Montpellier. Students listened to lectures, disputed theories, and memorized respected texts. Those texts carried ideas from Greek, Roman, Arabic, and Persian medicine. Hippocrates offered case observations and a language for disease. Galen organized anatomy, physiology, and treatment into an influential system. Avicenna's canon helped connect and systematize centuries of medical learning. The problem was not that medieval physicians never observed patients. The problem was the framework used to explain those observations. A fever was real, but its invisible cause remained unreachable. A painful wound was obvious, but infection had no microbial explanation. Books, therefore, guided decisions where experiments could not yet reach. Learning Latin also separated elite physicians from most ordinary patients. Elite training brought status, expensive clothes, and expensive consultations. Poorer people relied more often on family knowledge and local practitioners. Some treatments came from books. Others came from repeated practical experience. Ned has studied neither, but the waiting room is filling. The physician waves you forward and begins with the body's balance. Medieval European medicine imagined health as balance among 4 bodily humors. They were blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Each humor carried qualities such as hot, cold, wet, or dry. Blood was considered warm and moist, and linked with spring. Yellow bile was hot and dry, like an angry summer. Black bile was cold and dry, associated with melancholy. Phlegm was cold, matching winter's sluggish stillness. These link-shaped diet, personality, seasons, and medical decisions. A patient could be too hot, too cold, or excessively wet. Treatment aimed to oppose the imbalance and restore a middle state. Hot illness might invite cooling foods, rest, or particular herbs. Cold illness might call for warming, spices, blankets, and movement. An excess could also be expelled through bleeding, vomiting, or purging. To modern eyes, the system looks confident and dangerously incorrect. Yet it gave practitioners a shared language for complicated symptoms. It encouraged questions about diet, sleep, exercise, season, and emotion. That broad attention could make a consultation feel surprisingly personal. But personal attention cannot reveal bacteria you do not know exist. Your task is to locate an imbalance inside the first patient. The physician begins with questions, because instruments are extremely limited. When did the fever begin, and what happened before it? What did he eat, drink, dream, fear, and recently lose? The patient's account becomes the spine of the entire diagnosis. Physical examination may be brief compared with a modern appointment. Still, practitioners have observed posture, breathing, skin, swelling, and pain. They compare the story with patterns remembered from texts and experience. The physician touches the wrist and studies the rhythm beneath his fingers. Fast, slow, strong, weak, regular, or erratic all carry meaning. No watch measures exact seconds, so judgment depends on trained sensation. The patient's pulse is fast, but fever already explains that clue. A rash could mean many diseases, just as it still can today. Diagnosis is difficult when different illnesses produce similar visible signs. So, a respective physician must also predict what happens next. A confident prognosis can demonstrate knowledge even without a cure. It can prepare a family for recovery, decline, or death. It can also protect a doctor's reputation when treatment changes nothing. Ned copies every serious nod and hopes nobody notices. Then the family produces the urine flask you were avoiding. Its color, clarity, sediment, and quantity now become medical evidence. Your first diagnosis is about to become extremely yellow. The rounded urine flask was called a matula. It became a physician's symbol, much like today's stethoscope. Physicians held it toward light to judge color and suspended material. Some charts divided urine into many carefully named shades. A 1991 compilation famously illustrated 20 different urine colors. Color could reflect hydration, food, bleeding, or genuine disease. But the medieval interpretation returned everything to humoral balance. Cloudiness near the top might receive one elaborate explanation. Sediment near the bottom might receive a completely different one. The flask could seem precise, while the underlying theory remained wrong. Ned notices the sample is dark, and the patient looks dehydrated. The physician instead considers heat, season, temperament, and diet. Then he checks a calendar before choosing the treatment. Astrology was woven into parts of medieval European medical practice. Zodiac diagrams linked celestial signs with regions of the body. Timing could influence whether practitioners bled, purged, or delayed. This feels absurd now, but it once offered order under uncertainty. The physician finally declares the patient excessively hot and dry. His first prescription sounds merciful: water, rest, and cooling food. Then the physician adds one word that changes the room: bleeding. Before the bleeding begins, you must collect ingredients next door. The shop smells of dried plants, wax, smoke, resins, and spices. Shelves hold local herbs beside expensive materials carried across continents. The apothecary scales promise careful measurement, not modern purity. Recipes combine leaves, roots, minerals, animal products, honey, and wine. Some mixtures are soothing. Others are useless, toxic, or unpredictable. The same ingredient can help or harm depending on dose. Unfortunately, exact strength varies from harvest to harvest. Ned is told to grind until the powder feels perfectly smooth. Nobody provides a timer, standardized spoon, or printed safety label. A cooling drink may include barley water and selected herbs. A wound preparation might use wine, honey, cloth, or plant material. Wine on wounds could reduce some microbes without anyone knowing why. Honey can inhibit microbial growth, though medieval results varied wildly. Useful practice and incorrect explanation can exist at the same time. The apothecary also supplies pigments, oils, and artists' materials. In some towns, apothecaries and artists even shared a guild. Ned pockets nothing, because several jars display skull-like warnings. He carries the cooling mixture back without spilling a drop. The patient drinks, and the barber prepares a sharper remedy. Bloodletting remained common, because it fitted humoral theory perfectly. Too much blood meant balance could be restored by removing some. The procedure served headaches, fevers, strokes, and many other complaints. It survived for centuries, because tradition reinforced its authority. The barber ties a band above the patient's elbow. A vein rises beneath skin in the warm, crowded room. The blade is small, but the consequences are not. One quick cut sends blood into a waiting bowl. Ned watches the patient's face become noticeably paler. The barber watches the bowl and decides when enough is enough. There is no laboratory value confirming an excess of blood. There is only doctrine, experience, and the patient's immediate response. Some people may feel temporary relief from pressure or expectation. Others become weaker precisely when their bodies need circulation most. Too much blood loss can cause shock and death. The physician orders the cut closed before Ned faints first. But removing blood is only one path for removing imbalance. Emetics provoke vomiting. Laxatives provoke an unforgettable afternoon. Cupping and leeches offer other methods of drawing the null outward. Your next patient requires something worse than all of them: surgery. A carpenter has driven a splinter deep beneath his hand. The wound is swollen, hot, painful, and beginning to drain. A learned physician may advise, but a surgeon performs the cutting. In medieval Europe, surgery usually stood apart from elite medicine. Manual work carried blood, mess, risk, and lower social prestige. Yet practical skill could save lives when theory alone could not. Surgeons treated fractures, dislocations, boils, wounds, and damaged teeth. They also performed amputations, cataract procedures, and trepanation. The surgeon first examines whether the splinter can be grasped. Ned is ordered to hold the lamp and the patient. Pain control may involve wine, opiate preparations, or restraint. Dosage is uncertain, and complete unconsciousness is dangerously unreliable. The patient bites folded cloth as the surgeon begins. A narrow cut widens the wound enough to reach the wood. Forceps close, twist, and pull the splinter free. For one glorious second, surgery looks completely successful. Then everyone remembers the wound can still become infected. They cannot sterilize instruments because microbes remain unknown. The surgeon rinses with wine and prepares a dressing. Your job now becomes preventing a disaster nobody can see. The wound is packed and wrapped, but recovery remains uncertain. A clean cloth helps, yet clean does not mean sterile. The patient's own immune system must do most of the hidden work. Good nutrition, rest, drainage, and luck can improve the outcome. A deeper infection can spread through blood and overwhelm the body. Without antibiotics, that turn may be impossible to reverse. Medieval surgeons therefore learned to respect wounds that looked angry. They drained some swellings and lanced boils to release material. They immobilized broken bones with splints and careful wrapping. That mechanical logic could work because bones still need stability. Dislocations could sometimes be reduced by experienced, controlled force. Teeth were simpler. Grip the problem and pull hard. The extraction might end pain, infection, or the patient's courage. Cautery used heat to destroy tissue or control bleeding. It could stop hemorrhage while causing terrible pain and damage. Every intervention balanced immediate danger against another possible danger. This is not mindless cruelty. It is medicine with severe limits. Patients consented, resisted, negotiated, and sometimes walked away. The carpenter chooses his bandage, his bed, and a hopeful prayer. Ned leaves the surgeon and enters a very different place of care. A medieval hospital was not simply a smaller modern hospital. Many offered shelter, food, prayer, nursing, and care for the poor. Some also housed travelers, elderly people, or those unable to work. A physician might never appear unless wealthy patrons supported one. Monks, nuns, attendants, and servants provided much daily care. Clean bedding, warmth, food, and attention could genuinely help recovery. Most illness, however, was still managed inside ordinary homes. Families guarded recipes and techniques passed through generations. Local women often knew childbirth, infant care, herbs, and nursing. Their work appears less often because institutions recorded elite men. Yet one surviving trial reveals a healer named Jacoba Felici. In Paris in 1322, authorities accused her of unlicensed medicine. Women could not attend the University of Paris medical faculty. Patients testified that Jacoba examined urine and felt their pulses. They said she helped after other practitioners had failed. Her methods resembled licensed male doctors, but her status did not. The court fined her and ordered her to stop practicing. Medical authority therefore depended on institutions as well as results. Ned now understands the system, just as shouting erupts outside. A new patient has a fever and a swelling beneath his arm. The swelling is a bubo, a painfully enlarged lymph node. Fever, chills, exhaustion, and dark skin changes can follow quickly. Modern science identifies the bacterium Yersinia pestis. Infected fleas moving among rodents often transmit bubonic plague. Pneumonic plague can also spread through close respiratory droplets. None of that biological chain is visible to medieval practitioners. They blame corrupted air, celestial influence, synths, or poisoned balance. Smoke, perfumes, herbs, prayer, and flight all become possible defenses. Ned reaches again for the dramatic beaked mask. History removes it, because this is still the 14th century. The famous costume is documented in 17th century plague outbreaks. Your actual protection is distance, cloth, luck, and incomplete advice. Separating the sick can accidentally reduce some dangerous contact. But crowded homes, fleas, rodents, and caregiving keep exposure high. The physician can offer fluids, comfort, prognosis, and little else. Without effective antibiotics, severe plague can kill with terrifying speed. The family asks whether the patient will survive until morning. The physician studies his face, breathing, pulse, and urine again. He predicts decline, then stays long enough to offer comfort. For the first time today, Ned's silence is the correct treatment. The evening bell rings, and Ned has somehow survived. His patients faced medicine that was neither foolish nor scientific. Practitioners observed carefully, remembered patterns, and developed real manual skills. They listened to stories, because stories were often their best evidence. They recognized that food, rest, environment, and emotion affect health. They could set bones, remove splinters, drain swellings, and extract teeth. Basic nursing sometimes helped more than the grandest learned prescription. But the four humors could not identify microbes or internal disease. Bloodletting and purging often weakened people already fighting illness. Surgery lacked reliable anesthesia, sterilization, antibiotics, and transfusion. Status and licensing could exclude capable healers like Yakoba. We should neither romanticize the past nor mock everyone inside it. They reasoned with the knowledge, tools, institutions, and risks available. Modern medicine changed when observation joined testing, measurement, and biology. That change took centuries, arguments, failures, and countless recorded cases. Ned keeps one lesson from his impossible first day. Confidence is useful, but confidence without evidence can become dangerous. Tomorrow, he may become a soldier, prisoner, sailor, or royal taster. Comment the historical job that should ruin his next morning. History happened. Ned suffered. And somehow he is still employed. You wake up in London in the year 1665. The street outside is quieter than it should be. A church bell rings somewhere in the distance. Then, another bell answers from across the city. Congratulations, Ned. You have arrived during the Great Plague. London is crowded, dirty, and deeply worried. People still do not understand bacteria or fleas. They do understand that something terrible is spreading. Unfortunately, understanding stops there. You open the door and immediately smell smoke. Small fires burn herbs and rubbish in the street. People hope the smoke will clean the air. A neighbor passes with a cloth over his face. He refuses to come within 10 steps of you. You look down and notice dead rats near the gutter. Nobody agrees on what the rats mean. Some blame bad air. Some blame strangers. Some blame the alignment of planets. The fleas receive almost no criticism. You decide to find food before the markets close. The nearest baker's customers through a window. Coins are dropped into a bowl of vinegar. The baker avoids touching every hand. His bread is expensive and extremely small. You buy one loaf anyway. A cart rattles slowly along the street. A man calls for the dead to be brought out. Doors remain shut as the cart passes. You stop feeling hungry. Red crosses appear on several nearby houses. Each cross marks a home under quarantine. Words beside the cross ask for mercy. The message offers no practical escape route. Then you see a red cross on your own door. You have been inside for less than an hour. History has already assigned you a problem. So a watchman stands outside with a long staff. He says nobody may leave the house. You explain that you only just arrived. He explains that the Red Cross does not care. The door closes in your face. The door closes in your face. You are now officially quarantined. The house contains 6 frightened strangers. None of them knows who first became sick. Everyone quietly suspects everyone else. You choose a corner near the window. The window opens only a few inches. Fresh air enters with the smell of the street. Nobody agrees whether this helps or kills you. A woman burns rosemary in a small bowl. A man chews garlic with heroic confidence. Someone hangs an amulet above the door. You keep your red scarf over your mouth. It is not medical protection. It is emotionally supportive fabric. Fake. Hours pass slowly inside the sealed house. Water is delivered in a wooden bucket. Food arrives on the end of a pole. The watchman avoids touching the doorway. Nobody inside is allowed into the street. Quarantine can last for weeks. Your loaf must now become a financial plan. You divide it into painfully small pieces. One piece is breakfast. Another piece is optimism. Optimism is smaller. By evening, the bells begin ringing again. Funerals are happening faster than daylight. The city struggles to bury everyone safely. Many people leave London if they can. The poor cannot. You currently own one loaf and a scarf. Night falls over the locked house. Every cough becomes a public announcement. Someone sneezes in the next room. 6 people immediately stop breathing. It was only dust. Nobody relaxes. The following morning, a plague doctor arrives. His long-beaked mask looks like a nightmare bird. Herbs are packed inside the beak. People believe the scent may block poisoned air. The doctor checks pulses and asks questions. He has no cure for the disease. He does have very dramatic clothing. You ask whether the house is safe. Nah. He looks at the Red Cross. Then he looks at you. This is not the answer you wanted. No. The doctor recommends clean air, prayer, and patience. You currently have very little of all 3. After he leaves, shouting begins outside. A small fire has spread between wooden buildings. Londoners rush with buckets and hooks. Fire is dangerous, but smoke may seem protective. History has found a second bad solution. The watchman leaves his post to help. For the first time, the doorway is unguarded. Everyone inside looks at everyone else. No one says the obvious plan. Then the coughing man opens the door. The entire house runs in 6 directions. You follow the widest street toward the river. Markets, churches, and alleys blur past you. You avoid crowds whenever possible. This is difficult in London. The Thames appears ahead through the smoke. Boats carry people and goods across the water. You offer your remaining bread for passage. The boatman accepts before seeing its size. You climb aboard and move away from the city. London slowly disappears behind smoke and rooftops. You survived 1 day of quarantine. You survived bad theories, garlic, and the plague doctor. Most importantly, you escaped before the watchman returned. Tomorrow, someone will probably quarantine the boat. Hystericize. Who's happened? Ned suffered. You wake up in Rome sometime during the 2nd century. The street outside is already louder than a battlefield. Thousands of people are moving in the same direction. Every 3rd person is shouting the name of a racing team.
Congratulations, Ned.
You have arrived on Chariot Race Day. The destination is the Circus Maximus. Today, almost everyone wants to be inside it. You mostly want breakfast. A vendor sells you a small piece of bread. Another offers olives for twice the price. You follow the crowd toward the enormous stadium. The noise grows with every street you cross. People wear colors supporting their favorite racing factions. Red, white, blue, and green divide the crowd. You support whichever color looks least dangerous. This strategy immediately fails. Two fans begin arguing beside you. You move away before history becomes personal. At the entrance, guards are checking the crowd. Your ticket does not exist. You explain that you just woke up here. The guard explains that this is not a ticket. You offer the rest of your bread. And the guard lets you through. Inside, the Circus Maximus feels impossibly large. Long rows of spectators rise around the track. You find a place near the lower seats. This is exciting until you see the track. 4 chariots are already practicing at speed. The horses thunder past in a cloud of dust. You decide the upper seats would be safer. Before you can move, someone grabs your arm. A stable worker mistakes you for a missing assistant. You explain that you are not an assistant. He hands you a bucket anyway. And your new job begins immediately. You are pulled through a side passage beneath the seats. Horses stamp and snort inside narrow stalls. Drivers check reins, wheels, and leather straps. You know how to hold one bucket. The worker tells you to bring water to the horses. You carry the bucket toward a blue racing team. One horse drinks half of it instantly. Another horse tries to eat your scarf. You protect the scarf with both hands. A driver enters wearing a colored racing tunic. He checks every strap twice. It can also make injured drivers very dead. A wheel suddenly begins wobbling beside you. The stable worker shouts for a wooden pin. He points at a table covered with parts. The wheel is secured just before the race. The worker gives you an approving nod. Trumpets sound from inside the stadium. The first race is about to begin. Drivers lead their teams toward the starting gates. You try to return to the spectator seats. The stable worker blocks your path. He says the team needs another man near the track. He has already walked away. You follow because this keeps happening to you. The starting gates line up across one end. Several teams wait behind them. Horses pull against the reins. Drivers lean forward over their chariots. The crowd begins chanting for its favorite colors. You stand behind a low barrier with the other workers. A signal is given. The gates fly open. Every chariot launches forward at once. Horses, wheels, dust and shouting fill the track. The first turn arrives almost immediately. Drivers fight for the inside position. 2 wheels touch for a terrifying second. One chariot swerves, but stays upright. The crowd loves this far too much. The racers accelerate down the long straight. Then one horse breaks a leather strap. A loose rein whips behind the team. The driver struggles to control the chariot. Workers beside you begin shouting. The damaged team approaches your section of track. You take one very sensible step backward. The chariot swings dangerously toward the barrier. At the last moment, the driver pulls it away. Dust covers you from head to foot. Your scarf is now mostly brown. And the damaged team slows near the service area. Workers rush forward with replacement leather. You are handed another strap. Nobody has learned from the bucket incident. You run toward the stopped team. The horses are sweating and shaking. The driver is shouting instructions faster than language. You hand the strap to someone more qualified. This is your best decision all day. Within moments, the team is moving again per mid. The race continues without waiting for anybody. The final laps become even louder. Spectators stand and scream from the seats. One team takes the lead around the last turn. The blue faction begins celebrating early. You are currently wearing dust that looks blue enough. Exercise. Several strangers hug you. You accept the victory on behalf of confusion. The winning chariot crosses the finish line. The stadium explodes into cheers and arguments. Coins begin changing hands everywhere. The stable worker finally releases you from duty. You climb back toward the street. Your bread is gone. Exercise. Your scarf smells like horse. And you accidentally joined a Roman racing team. You survived Chariot Race Day in ancient Rome. You survived horses, wheels, crowds, and employment. Most impressively, nobody asked you to drive. Tomorrow, the stable worker wants you back. History happened. Ned suffered.